There are two swans also, if you look at some of the pictures, depicted on each side of the mother. Here's another analogy of that being. It is said, if you took a glass of milk and you poured water into it, what will happen? You stir it up. It becomes one liquid, not so? Are you able to separate that milk from that water? No, chances are not. Not without some chemical processes and some machinery. This swan has the capability to separate that milk from that water. You can drink the milk and leave the water right there. This is what this katha is about tonight. Separation, perseverance, and also knowing when you have to draw the line between what is right and what is wrong. Information flows very freely. Mankind is like this. Information flows very freely. Everyone has something to say. But if you're not careful, while getting some good information, they can also be infused with some negativities. And just by that, your whole sense of perception may change about a person, about a community, about a temple, about puja, about God in general. It is our desire, it is our law, as we say, we are Satya Sanatan Vedic Dharma. That's the dharma that we follow. To use the methodology that Saraswati Ma has prescribed here for us, which is separation of that milk, which is separation from good and separation from bad. With this in our hearts, filled with love, we can only become better people. Okay. So, the significance of the Veena. Finally, she sits on a swan. Now, those of you from Guyana, you have beautiful lotus flowers in Guyana. I've seen it for myself. The lotus flower is a very beautiful flower. But where does this lotus flower grow? In the dirtiest of drains and ponds and canals and so forth, not so? So too is that swan. What does that swan feed on? Mud and muck. The swan is able to dip its beak into that dirt, swallow it, and regurgitate it back out to the two little holes on its beak, and will shoot all of the water and all of the dirt out, but keep the nutrients in. It feeds on the bacteria and the little elements that live in that dirt. This is our katha for tonight, the synopsis of this katha. Whenever we listen to anything, whenever we hear anything, whenever we read anything, we observe anything, we learn anything, we need to be like the swan. Mother Saraswati says, take in everything, but always filter out the negatives, throw it out, and only keep the positives, only keep what is good inside, the things that can help you grow and elevate. That's all this symbolizes with the swan. Shweta Varni, the white shawl that she wears, symbolizes purity. Shweta means purity. Why do we use white chandan? Why do we use white cloth when we are performing the puja? For purity. She stands for purity, absolute purity, no nonsense. Here is where the swan comes into play, and the white lotus. The white lotus lives in the murky water, but it takes its nutrients from that dirt underneath, and what does it produce on the top? The most beautiful flower that you will ever see, big and glorious and happy. That is called Shwet. That lotus flower also represents something in our body. We have 8 chakras in this body. And as we start becoming more involved in puja, in meditation, in devotion, in singing and chanting, these chakras begin to open. You feel it sometimes when you're performing puja. Your body starts vibrating, the sweat, perspiration comes off your body, and you get that tingling feeling from your feet all the way up to your head and your hands as you're offering prasad and so forth. That symbolizes the chakras are starting to open. People can do this forcefully by meditation. But when that last Sushumna Nadi chakra opens on the top of your head like this, like a lotus flower, that is when you start communicating with the third eye to God. You hear about the third eye? That is when that third eye opens up and you're starting communicating with this. Our goal in life should be to reach that stage where we can open this flower. And the only way you can open this flower is if these other 7 chakras are in sync and they all open together. And how do we do that? I told you last Saturday night. Fill your hearts with love, your minds and your soul with love and devotion. Leave no room for anyone or anything to enter that heart, to create negativity, to create hate, disharmony, to create friction in families and homes, in communities and temples, amongst your friends. Devotees, take the teachings from the Rig Veda tonight and Mother Saraswati as she stands for Shwet, purity.